Welcome to another episode of Everything Intellectual Property. Today, we have a very special guest with us. This gentleman has created a product that provides air ventilation to your garages so it's not hot and stuffy inside. He's also found expanded uses for his product to provide air ventilation to different structures in areas such as attics as well as sheds. Please help me welcome the CEO and the founder of MOBENO Solutions, Erez Halflon. How's it going, Aras?
Hey, Dave. Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to have you on here today. And I always try to start with, I know we talked about before as far as the origin of the podcast. And always try to have, the guests explain their invention. And this is actually cool because you're in your garage where people can actually see the invention. And you can kind of really get off into the weeds in terms of the explanation of the invention and what it does there. So I'll let you take it away if that's okay.
I appreciate it. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. So yes, I am in my garage. This is where I do many of my work, whether I'm repairing stuff at home, honey-doolies, all those kind of things that I like to do and spend time in the garage. And, I was just sitting over here. I was like, I need some air movement in the garage. And we have those lights, those windows that are in the garage. And I said, nice that there's windows, but I could use some airflow. And one thing led to another, playing with different one by one big fan to put it out there, suck all the air out. And I was like, I can't even get into the garage because it sucks all the air out. So I had to play around, create different ideas. And that's how it all started, right? So we came up to the ventilation. As you can see, kind of behind me, there are 3 fans out there. So there's 2 fans that are blowing air into the garage, and one is an exhaust blowing air out. And it's all operated by solar. So the other side of this garage, it's an all-black solar panel. So it looks just like a tinted window in there. And it's been great.
And I can show just the other side of the garage there. I'm not sure if that's your garage, but
yes,
I'm assuming that's the other side that you have the solar there.
Exactly. Right. So this is actually my first, I call it a prototype. This is the first innovation of this. And that's why you see some of those silver lining on those the solar panels. But Right now, the latest one are coming in with an all black window. So just like you see the ones in the middle, it would look just like this tinted window. You don't see any one of those lines out there. So yeah, that's how it looks.
Nice. And again, that's, I guess, a cool thing for a few different reasons. Number one, hey, if the product that you're trying to sell to other people is not good enough for you to use, then that's could be a big problem. So it seems like the fact that you're using this thing is cool. But then also, as you talked about, it typically seems like a product development. You come up with different versions, different models of it, and it seems like you're kind of coming out with another iteration that it kind of maybe more aesthetically pleasing and maybe works a little bit better as well. Is that accurate?
Yes, absolutely. So as I was going through this product development, I work with some local garage door companies out here to come in, take a look at this. Some friends that maybe are not completely in the industry, but they do understand the air quality in their garage and the impact to their house. So over time, it's just been kept improving. And recently we've added, there was some questions regarding insects getting in there. So our latest product, the way it comes out, it has an all screen in there. Nice. So it basically prevents any insects build up or going in there if and when the unit doesn't work. So nice. When you turn it off. So it gone through this evolution, and getting that feedback and getting to those kind of industry leaders took it out to the whole other areas of the sheds, of the attics, really other needs where they can also use that solution.
So then I was going to ask you, you talk about the solar power aspect of it, and I'm assuming that's good for the user because they're not racking up a large utility bill or maybe even any utility bill to have their garage or whatever space that they're using this in being properly ventilated. What was the reasoning for going with the solar powered way of doing things as opposed to maybe a hard wire or another form to power the actual fans?
So in the garage door, it turns out that the garage door has a whole lot of mechanism and wiring and other stuff that makes it operate. So the last thing I wanted to do is to mess around with running any kind of wires for people to mess it up somehow. And the garage door, it's a heavy door. So you don't want to mess around with this to make any issues. So as I was looking into that, I wanted to something that requires very minimal time of installation, very powerful motor over there to get this out there, to get some powerful ventilation really moving through. And then same thing with sheds. It's a remote building. You don't want to run electricity, permits, wiring, all those things into a shed to run over there. So we have some green energy we want to use. And as I developed through this, one of the big benefit that people have told me about it gives you a tax credit because you improve the efficiency of the home and you're using green energy. So right now you get up to 30% of tax credit for any solar energy that you use in your home.
Nice. And I guess I didn't realize that, but that's definitely good to know. And it seems like in the background there, you have a couple of them. So I guess, does it depend on how big or small your garage is as far as how many of these different, devices that you use? Because it seems like you have maybe at least 2, maybe even 4, I think, going off the other picture. So is that maybe recommended, or how you decide how many of these things you're going to put in?
Right. So for the average 2-car garage doors, you basically could get around with 2 units out there. I have 4 because obviously I developed this, so it's got different levels of development of those units that I put in. The unit itself produces 630 square CFM. That's a cubic feet per minute. Yep. And then I think I read somewhere that the measurement goes that you need 1 CFM per square feet. And most average 2-car garage door, the 2-car garage spaces are about the 400 or 500 square feet. Right. So the 2 units, you could get away with 1, but the second one is more also for aesthetics and also depending how high the garage space is. So you want to maximize that airflow in that space and how deep, or you got different sections within the garage. But it's between the aesthetics, but definitely for the powerful airflow to get it circulated. So at minimum of 2 units to get in there.
Got you. And then does your friends, when they come over, do they, because obviously I would imagine that at least some of the friends don't have maybe your product in their garages. So when your friends come over and they're maybe used to kind of dealing with their garage and it's maybe hot and it's stuffy inside, do they kind of notice a difference or maybe say something to you about the difference when they step into your garage and it's kind of better ventilated than maybe they recall it being in their garage? Does that happen?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the best feedback I think I could have is that we installed it at this guy's house in downtown Raleigh. And they have a very old house over there, and they came back from shopping and they said, listen, we walked to the grocery store. I had to spend some time inside the garage to cool off from that grocery shopping before I even went into the house, right? Because they feel that fan blowing at them, right? They feel kind of that airflow right there. So, and if you have the kids, if you have different moisture, you have different kind of odor stuff that goes in there, that definitely ventilated. So yes, people, when they come into my garage, they feel and they see it and they're all wowed to really the effect, because they maybe look like a small fan, like a regular PC fan, but part of the development is we put one that reduces, again, 210 CFM per fan. So it's 630 CFM. And when I stand about 10, 12 feet away inside the garage, I could feel the wind blowing over there. So it's really nice.
And I have to ask you, just even going back to the beginning, did you think you would be at this point that you are today? Just because, again, it seems like your background, from my understanding, and I was seeing if you can go in a little bit more about it as far as importing natural stone to households from all over the world. Did you envision it kind of coming to this point where you're starting out importing natural stone as a career and profession, and then you kind of move along, and next thing you know, you're an inventor? Is that like, I guess it seems like that's that's pretty crazy to think about.
Absolutely. And some of the things that we go through life, and you see different things, and you say, wouldn't that be nice to have? That's a great idea, and you can take that idea, but there's so little people that actually said, you know what, I'll actually do something with that idea. And the way I came up with this is that it started as an idea, and I said, you know what, it's probably not going to go anywhere, and I've let it down for like a year. I was sitting on this, not doing anything. And about a year later, the more I kind of look into this, it was during COVID times and air quality and, the house and everything that we spend time in there. I said, you know what? I want to use my garage a lot better than this. Yeah. Talk to different friends. And one of the immediate things they said, listen, just write it as a patent. Make sure you're protected. Get that patent on that solution out there. And I was eager to start talking to people in the industry, right? Hey, what do you think? What do you think about this? How could that work? Is it going to work? So I never thought about that. And today, after we got this in the patent pending right now, and my attorney that I work with said, go right ahead. You can start talking to whomever you want.
Exactly.
The feedback on this was just amazing. So every time that I hear, hey, how come nobody thought about it before? That just makes my day. That just takes me to a whole different level of saying, you know what, I really made something that's helpful. And, we have right now different dealers across the country that are reselling the product out there. It's on the website. They're listed on there.
Nice.
And it's just amazing to see their response. It's like, I know exactly Mrs. Smith going to need this in her shed. I know my customer so-and-so is going to need this in their garage. And it's like, I don't need to do the work. The solution itself does the job itself. And it's just so rewarding. So I'm just blessed about being surrounded by the different people and the feedback and seeing within the industry itself, because there's always, ways, and it's the easiest way to say, this was just not work. So quit it, don't do it. And that's it. And those are the first kind of response from a lot of people. But the ones that tells you, you know what, this is really good, and there is something in an idea, it drives you way forward in there. So I'm completely blessed with this, and it's been a fun ride.
No, and that's interesting. You said a lot of stuff there that I kind of really want to peel back. I guess one of the things that you had said was a lot of people have these ideals and they just don't do anything with them. I think they say that if you want to go to a place that has most ideals, just go to the graveyard, because unfortunately a lot of people end up just kind of dying with their ideals without never doing anything with them. But that's, I guess I hadn't realized that you shelved this thing for a year and then you decided to pick it back up during the COVID time, trying to get out in the garage a little bit more. Was it any, I guess at that point in time during the COVID time, or the time that you picked this thing back up, was it still a little bit of like just kind of not knowing or a reservation before getting off into it? Or once you heard from your friends to say, hey, go for it, make sure you protect the patent on it, did that give you the motivation that you needed to actually kind of go forward with things? Because again, you're working, you're doing things, you're still, trying to provide for the family and yourself or whatnot. So was it like just life happens and you weren't really looking to go forward with things because you didn't want to spend the time and all that, as well as maybe you didn't think it was going to work or be a good idea? And if that was the case, did the friends kind of help you or push you into it? Or are you just that type of person to say, hey, no, if I want to do something, I'm going to just get it done?
So definitely talking to those different friends out there, because I remember a specific friend that I came to, we met over lunch and I said, listen, I have this great idea. And I was so excited, and all of his response during that was like, so what are you waiting for? Right. And he said, it's not me, it's you did it because I was so excited about the idea. Right. And one of the things that led me to the next step is I said, okay, well, let's take things into proportion, and I'm going to set myself a certain budget, right? A budget that I can play with and see, you know what? I don't want to start taking loans right now. I'm not going to start building up those humongous things before even knowing if it's working or not. So I just bought different things from the local hardware store. I found some stuff online. I brought in, start putting stuff together out there, and really started to feel the effect of the wind flow that it had. And I'm talking about buying smaller solar panels, connecting them together to put this one big solar panel to make it work, just because of a budget constraint, right? So I had to be very creative with this. But the more I play with this and the more feedback that I got with those like that, right? So what are you waiting for?
Yep.
That keeps me pushing out there. And I'm telling you, it's like I said, it's a lot of people have those ideas, and I encourage everyone that listening right now, set a budget for this. Put whatever it is, whether you have the $100, whether you have the $1 million, whatever it is, but set that budget to say, you know what, I'm going to develop it that far to see if it's worthwhile. And talking to, again, a patent attorney like yourself, talking about what the possibility could be out there. That there's a whole industry of patent and solutions that are out there. So I definitely highly recommend putting a little bit of that effort and see where it takes you.
Well, and that's actually pretty interesting that you said that. I actually like that you said that, as far as, because I think a lot of people do get maybe overwhelmed, especially at the beginning, just with the financial component of it. Okay, you have an idea, and then it's like, okay, it just almost seems so monumentum or monumentous, and just such a big feat to the point where it's like, okay, where do I even begin? But I like what you said in terms of, hey, setting a budget, and like you said, okay, you have some constraints, set the budget, or maybe go get some stuff from the local hardware store or online, start putting stuff together, see what you got, get feedback from maybe family, friends, and things like that, and just kind of do it that way, just slowly build up, as opposed to, like you said, go get a loan and get all this money that you're going to have to pay back. And if it doesn't turn out to be anything, then you're left with this big loan or bill that you have to still pay back. I guess going back to the patent attorney side of things, because you said your buddy told you, hey, to make sure you protect it. Did you know anything about patents before that, or kind of working with a patent attorney? Because that can be another, I guess, hurdle for people as far as, okay, I don't know any patent attorneys, or I can't afford a patent attorney, or I just don't know anything about patents. So how did you overcome that? Or did you already kind of know a little bit about it going into it?
So this is the first patent that I ever submitted and put out there. I talked to some friends that had experience. Maybe they wrote some patent in the past. Okay. And I didn't know what to get into, right? When you hear the word of talking to an attorney, for me, it's already scary, right? But a patent attorney is completely different, in my experience, than just any type of an attorney out there, right? Because it helps you to build a justification to there. Now, not in the sense that he's writing it, but I'm sharing my idea and he's putting it in the right legal term and writing to make it legit out there, right? So it's not just me, because for me, I don't know, I was ready to come out the door and show it to the world and say, guys, look at what I got.
Don't do that.
I'm sure.
Not do that.
I was warned so many times, do not talk to anybody until you get that protected. And, you know, my attorney provided some NDAs, so we got that done. We're still doing this today to some of the NDAs to be signed on some of the partnerships that we're doing today in developing and making the solution much better than where it is today even. So it really is a very important step. Don't be intimidated by that process itself, like I was, at least in the beginning. But I can tell you now that I've been through my first one, I'm already thinking, when am I going to do my second one? But it's definitely been helpful.
And again, like you said before, just the additional improvements or embodiments or iterations that you come out with, or you can file subsequent patents to all that, or maybe even go back into the add to the existing patent to the extent that it's still pending. So when you talk about the whole, the bug screen or whatnot, that's something that you can add is a embodiment or some claims to that to kind of protect that aspect of it. So it's, as you continue to, and you're going to get feedback from the customers, and I'm pretty sure you already been doing okay, what if you had this or did this? And that's stuff that you can implement into kind of future embodiments or future versions of it, and you can protect those future versions as well. I guess one of the things that I did want to ask you regarding the device, let me see how I want to ask this. So you have the patent attorney. Did you ever have somebody ask you, or tell you like, well, you're just plugging a solar panel up to power some fans? That's not patentable. Did anybody try to, I don't want to say scare you off, but kind of be the Debbie Downer from that perspective to say, man, that's probably not going to be patentable because it's simple, or do you understand what I'm saying? Maybe trying to act, because a lot of people don't know. Obviously, you have to have, it has to be novel and it has to be non-obvious. But that can be, again, as you start talking about those things and you get off into the weeds, okay, you have 3 fans, You have, a couple fans pushing or bringing air inside, another fan pushing it out. You're having these different structures, these different ways about how the whole product operates. That kind of builds your case for novelty and non-obvious compared to maybe what's out there. But I guess maybe going back to my original question, did some people try to deter you or kind of talk you out of it because they're like, oh, this is not new?
Absolutely. And I think it's the world of that Amazon is out there, right? The eBay world are out there right now to say, you're not going to invent anything because it's already out there. But that's throughout the process itself. That's what educated me and made my product a lot better because one, it's not just simple that take a fan and patent on that fan, but it made the product solution to be much better, much well protected in there. And it's been fun to learn from this, right? So all those people that say, listen, you're wasting your time on this. I mean, that gave me even more power to go out there, talk back to their attorney and say, listen, this is what I'm thinking. This is where it could go. And just the question that I'm getting from their attorney, qualifying or understanding the solution, what it can be done, that, again, made the product a lot better. So, I met people within the industry itself, some people outside of the industry. But when you get those negative kind of pushback, for me, some of those negative pushbacks do not hold any ground. It's like, I don't believe in wind, right? I don't believe in air quality. Well, it's the air you breathe. So if I need to convince you to breathe a better air, well, we got a bigger problem than my ventilation, right? So throughout the process itself, it's what makes you stronger and how much you believe in what you want to patent and what you want to develop out there. So it's not just I'm coming up in the morning and saying, sure, I'll patent this one or another. It's really putting the thought. It's really being my baby. It's really being my motivation to get up in the morning, develop this, test it. And again, I'm here in the garage doing work on this and keeping improving it. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And another thing that I think you mentioned, which I think is pretty cool as far as, I guess maybe before I get to that, did you have, because I'm not sure if you were working as like the imported natural stone, was that part of your own business or was that you were maybe working for someone? I guess I wanted to maybe, and I'm asking as far as, did you have any experience? Because that can almost be a fear as well of not having experience running a business, especially maybe if you're a little older. Some people have that fear of, okay, I'm older, I haven't never ran a business before, so it's going to be way too hard. Did that ever kind of plague you at all?
So that experience, again, I came to the U.S. about over 20 years ago from Israel and importing the stone and dealing with some GPS vehicle tracking solution out there made me learn to learn the business, right? What it means to go out there, talk to the different people and say, listen, this is my product, regardless what it is, the stone. So I represented this company out of Israel and they had a location in Florida. We opened the northeast, kind of the east side of the country distributions. And it really opened me up to go and be able to talk about people, build my confidence, offering something that was completely new. It's called the Jerusalem stone. A lot of people didn't know that you could put that kind of limestone in your kitchen, in the bathroom, and in the home itself. And just because of the characteristic of the stone itself, it appealed a lot of people out there to put it in their house, put it as a unique, whether it's the beach house, the mountain house, whatever they want to renovate out there was really exciting. So it just opened me to understand people needs, understand kind of what they value out there. So yes, I can tell you it was a little bit scary to go in, but I did it a step at a time. I didn't jump in and like you said, I didn't buy it alone. I didn't buy a whole factory for things like this. So I did it a step at a time. Used local people to kind of understand the business, understand the industry. And again, the more you get into development and talking about it, it just, I try to enjoy the ride of it. So there's nothing to be stressed with it. It's just getting into enjoying the ride itself because it's something that you created, right? And this is my favorite things to do throughout the day. So, yeah.
For sure. No, absolutely. I definitely understand that. And I think you was talking about before in terms of at times having to, I guess, educate the person or, the person on the importance of, hopefully you don't have to educate them too much on the importance of just kind of breathing clean air. But this is more of a market disruptor. Again, I haven't seen anything like this where you can, and the other good thing about it is you can kind of retrofit it into your garage. It's not like you have to cut a hole inside of your house or along a brick. No, you can kind of retrofit this on your garage or on your shed or the attic or whatnot and put it in. But did you have to, in terms of kind of how it worked, what it did, how much of maybe that being a big thing or issue, having to educate the public and just kind of the consumer on such a product that can be looked at as a disruptive product, which in other words is a product that is nothing of its kind out there already?
Yes, absolutely. So that's part of the, I try to make it with as little as installation time as you need, right? Whether you're a handyman or you're just knowing how to put a screw together, that's the intent of that development of this product itself. So yes, it did come through evolution. We say, yeah, I can buy this $5 solar panel on Amazon and I could buy this other $2 fan and put them together, but it's not completely that. So one of the main focus that I did and seeing those 3 fans out there is you do have an exhaust system, you do have an intake in there to basically create that air circulation. One of the early stages, I met with it was a mechanical engineer that looked at this and say, listen, can you make enough wind with that small of a fan? And that's one of the research and development that I went into this to make sure that we use powerful enough fans. We use powerful enough solar panel to generate that power to activate those 3 fans and really make the air movement. So again, to those conversations, if I need to talk to someone and say, listen, the air quality that you breathe, you don't want to breathe the fumes from your cars or paint that are in the garage or any kind of odors that you have there, not to mention the utility bills that impacts the house itself. And if I need to explain to them what it means to replace an air filter, then the conversation for me is over, right? I mean, if you don't have that understanding, especially when we after COVID, you need to kind of understand that importance of the air we breathe, the utility bills that you have in your house for the air AC working overtime because the attic is not ventilated or the garage door is not ventilated. But it just a lot of customer education. And I can tell you some of those just get it right like this. It's amazing to see. Yes, fan, air circulation, I want it on. So it's good.
So I guess let me ask you this. So with the vent, because from my understanding, your typically attics have vents to them, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so those are, I guess, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, so yeah, so on the roof itself, there is kind of a ridge vent, right? There's different kind of holes that are in there, and that's what's part of the passive ventilation. And in order to get those passive ventilation, I look at this as you really need a good windy day to make sure the air is moving out there. Otherwise, it's not moving. And if you don't have that air, windy day, then you're really relying on this passive activity. And part of that solution is an active ventilation. Regardless to what the temperature is going outside, those ventilation, as long as they're daylight, they keep ventilating the room. They keep ventilating and moving the air and preventing from the mold particles to build up in the attic, in the garage, in different sheds. So it forces the air to move again, regardless to the temperature and what's going on outside.
So and that's interesting. So because again, you're using it at least at the beginning for your garage. What made you think, okay, this thing can be used for attics as well as sheds and these spaces that, okay, you typically just have air? Because this is what it's all about. Like you said, passive, active. I like that description of it because active is we're forcing this air to move as opposed to passively. You're just kind of maybe waiting for a windy day or whatnot to kind of get this air moving around. What made you say, okay, we can kind of expand the use of it to sheds and attics? Was it like somebody that said that, or did people just buy them and start using them for other areas? How did that come about?
So it really just from those conversations, people said, hey, I can use it for my attic. I can use it for the shed. So like I said, I developed it for the garage door. I went to met with the, garage door manufacturers out there. And they're the one who said that garage doors and shed industry are very alike. There's a lot of similarity in their industries of the things that they do together. So that's where I was basically referred into the attic and into the shed industry, right? So
Okay.
I've also attended, the first time I did it was in Las Vegas. I went over there for a builder show, a home builder show, and just walked around to understand really what people are looking for, what the solutions that are out there, what companies care about. And those conversations would just like a light bulb going off is because I have the exact solution for you. I just can't show it to you right now, but I'm working on something and I've collected business cards out there for people. And as soon as I get the go ahead to talk to them, then I started my follow up and say, hey, we met, remember, let's have a quick call. And just showing the solution instantly gave them the whole idea, right? So they knew exactly who's going to use it. They knew exactly which market they're going to go to. So that's how I leverage the market itself to kind of show me where I'm going, in addition to my thoughts of where I wanted to take it.
No, and I actually like that, especially when you're talking about, hey, I'm going to different shows and trade shows, just kind of checking things out, because it seems like prior to this, you maybe really didn't have a whole lot of experience in this, I guess, area, so to speak. But you're learning on the fly. You have this idea, you're learning on the fly, and you're talking to the right people. And man, that's great, because a lot of times, and a lot of the people I bring on, they're doing something completely different from what it is that they haven't been at a product in. And that seems like it was a similar thing for you, which is good, because you get a fresh perspective and you get the chance to learn a lot of new things that you hadn't learned before, and just kind of being able to kind of build relationships with people in the industry that's been in there forever. I guess maybe a question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying it's being open-minded, right?
Yeah,
It's
I like that.
me talking to you, asking you, hey, what do you think about this? And maybe you'll be the guy that says completely no, or maybe you'll be the guy that say yes, but you can use 1, 2, 3. And as long as I'm be the one with open-minded and you're a little bit open-minded, then we can make something work, right? So that's my approach to things. Just be open-minded, talk to people within any industry, and you be the judge of whether, you know what they said is out of nowhere, or you know what, it actually makes sense. I can work with that.
For sure. No, absolutely. And another cool thing, just in terms of as I was preparing for this interview, I've kind of been doing a lot more cigar smoking lately, and it seems like kind of you found out that, hey, this can be good for like a cigar room, so to speak, or turning something into a cigar room where you're kind of forcing out that air and kind of bringing new air in there, as well as other uses. So that's pretty cool. I guess, how did that come about in terms of, did you have maybe a cigar smoker who said, hey, you can use it for this or that, or like, I guess, how did that part of it come about?
So I don't smoke, and I don't smoke cigars. Okay. And I was focusing air ventilation, air quality, mold, all those things. And as I came to some people, one of them was actually a garage door representative out there that I met with him. And he said, listen, I'm going to tell you a secret, but just don't tell anybody. I use my garage to go out there and smoke my cigars. So my wife don't catch me, and I don't want him to see. And, I leave the door just a little bit open, but then I got those insects coming in. And I said, okay, well, maybe this guy is just crazy. So I don't know, and the more I went to talk to different people, it's like, hey, I'm a member of this cigar smoking club out there. And they just pitch it all over. And they're like, this is the perfect thing we need, because when we're not at the club, we are smoking in the garage. Yeah. I need it ventilated throughout the day when I'm not there. So it was funny to see this, because I never thought about that. And again, it's just talking to people. They came back and say, hey, don't tell anyone, but this is how I use my garage.
So and I just have a few more questions. So then you're talking about the garage and it has windows, but what if your garage does not have windows? Can you still kind of make an opening and put this thing, or how can you use it still with the garage at that point in time?
Yeah. So one of the things, again, learning from the garage door industry itself, a local garage door installer can actually cut those opening for you, right? They can make those opening, and it's an aluminum door. Apparently it's much more easier than I thought about it, but they being at the show, that's what I learned about it. They said, this is very easy. If somebody wants to add windows, we just come in. It's a 5-minute work where we cut out the space, we plug it right in, and we're done. So the whole installation itself is a few minutes.
Gotcha. So people have kind of added windows to their garage door in this way, as far as having the garage door installer come out, cut an opening for a window there. So that's not them coming out and cutting an opening into the garage door. That's nothing kind of newer. That's something that seems like they do quite often. Obviously, it's maybe not for putting this product in there, but whether it's a window or something. So them being able to kind of retrofit this product into a garage door is that's cool.
They can take this top panel of the garage. They can do it at the home, or they can take it to their shop and just put it over there. But they have all the tools for this. And like I said, it's a 5-minute work for them to get that done. So, yes.
And then, so you got the 5 minutes, for example, with them cutting an opening. And I know you had talked about you wanted to make this thing as simple as possible to actually put in. How long does it take to actually install your product in the actual window or the opening of the garage door?
Yeah, so once the installation, once the window is there, it's much more simpler for any homeowner to actually do it on their own. The back of the window itself has screws on there, and it just comes out. The glass comes out with the insert that you have out there, and you just mount those same screws in the back of it right there.
Okay. Gotcha.
So I have a few. It's like a 5-step installation guide to get it in there.
Nice. I like that. So then I guess maybe my last 2 questions here. Maybe number 1, how has it been marketing this thing and advertising this thing, talking about it on social media? I'm not sure if you were a big social media person beforehand with like Instagram and Facebook and maybe even TikTok, those different platforms, or has your product kind of forced you to become more of a social media person? How has that been? I understand that social media can be a big, especially these days, where it can be a big influence or, a big marketing channel compared to, obviously, people are not maybe kind of sitting down and looking at TV ads or, if you are not in a retail store, social media can be a big thing to kind of push the product.
Yeah, and it's amazing because, like I said, you learn something every day, right? You learn those new things and playing around with social media. I'm not a big social media guy, but the big reward that I get from this is that when I call someone and I said, hey, we talked, or I saw your name out there, and I just tell him my name in the Solar Solution, and he's like, oh, yeah, I've seen you online. Listen, I wanted to talk to you. Like, wait a second, I called you. But it's amazing to see how social media takes you out there to bring a product awareness to just people are calling me. It's like, I saw you on LinkedIn. I saw you on Instagram, right? I follow your YouTube channel to see exactly how that installation quick video is done. And it's amazing. I want one in. So it's, learning those new things every day, and technology that is out there made it so simple today. You don't need to be a computer geek to figure all that stuff out. It's just everything automatic today. So.
No, you're absolutely right about that. So I guess I kind of follow up with this question here in terms of what advice would you give? 'Cause I always try to, as you all are here, kind of telling your story. I always like to say, hey, what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs, someone who's maybe on the fence about kind of jumping into the entrepreneurship world, and they maybe have a product and they're confident, or they feel really good about their ideal or but they just haven't taken that extra step to kind of really become an entrepreneur. So they're more of an aspiring entrepreneur. I know you talked about, getting feedback from friends and family and building relationships that kind of going to different shows and things like that. So what, I guess, advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs that may be out there and listening to the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing is go after your dreams, right? This great country of ours that we're in right now, the sky is the limit. I have 3 kids, and I tell them the sky is the limit. Whatever you put your mind to it, go after this. And, and like I said before, is setting up those budget, right? You have an idea. It could be the worst idea. It could be the best idea. You don't know until you actually try a little bit with it. Get that budget, whatever your capability, and maybe build it over time. So we don't all have just extra money just sitting in the bank for this, but every month I'll put in a small budget towards that project to see where it goes, see the real feedback of people, talk a lot to family and friends that you trust, right? There's people that would actually tell you, I'm not afraid of telling you this idea is bad or good, but it's really getting the authentic type of feedback out there. and start running with this. You never know where it's going to lead. I never knew that I'm going to be sitting over here today with you, Dave. So it's been an amazing ride. And
Sure.
go after your dreams. Just go out there, play with that budget, play with your idea. You got total of access nowadays between social media and anything people want to do. So the sky is the limit with it.
And I have seen it, yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with you with everything that you just said. I've seen it time and time again where people they have benefited as a result of kind of going after their ideas and it kind of really being a game changer for their life, having being able to make really good money, even if it's not millions of dollars, being able to make maybe $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 extra a year, just kind of selling their product. That becomes that's an important thing, and it's interesting that you said, because it seems like you're saying, hey, you got to be financially responsible. You just can't maybe go spending money on just kind of different things. But if you have an idea and you're serious about getting this thing out there, you need to be responsible, maybe kind of set some money away as opposed to going to spending, shopping and traveling and things like that. Save some money away and kind of use that money that you're saving to kind of put towards whatever your ideal or your product is to kind of get it out there. So it's kind of, you have to be responsible with this thing financially as well, which I know that.
David, one of the trade shows, I met this lady that she's a realtor, right? And she sat on this innovation for a patent that she developed, something for the sink. And I'm just sitting with her and she's like, I'm on top of the world right now. I developed this. I forgot exactly what that was, but it was in the sink itself to hold on the sponge that you have in there. And it just, like she said, the doors that's been opened for me, I was not even aware to get here to Las Vegas and actually attend and see all those people that are already buying my product, giving me so much ideas. And this is just a realtor lady that was thinking to do it on the side because she saw the need for her sink, and it's taken off like crazy. So
and that's why I love the fact that you did this interview in your garage where it all started, because a lot of times people think that we all go through issues or problems that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of times we're trying to provide solutions to those problems. But as you have figured out, as well as the lady-in-law's, the realtor lady had figured out, a lot of people out there in the world, in the country are having these same issues and problems as well. So you're developing a solution for your problem that you're encountering, but that's something that other people they're encountering as well. So get that idea out, make it into a product and sell it so you can solve other people's problems as well. Because it's not just you going through that. And the fact that you are in your garage working and you're like, man, it's hot and stuffy in here and I need better air circulation, ventilation, and to kind of create this product to solve for your problem, but then it being other people's problems as well that you can solve for. That's like the genesis of it all. And that's kind of how it all starts with most inventors and most business owners, them solving an issue for themselves, and then they're extrapolating it or providing that same solution to everyone else. And it's a
different mindset too. It changes your mind. You deal with something completely different. Yep. All of a sudden, this whole ideas comes up. So definitely encourage people to do that.
No, for sure. And then I guess the last thing is, how can people follow you? How can people get in touch with you? Yeah. I know you said you're maybe not that big on social media, and how can people most importantly buy the product?
So thank you for that. And so we have the website, MOBENO, MOBENO, SolarSolutions.com. It's the same thing for LinkedIn. We got it on Instagram. We have the Zula Ventilation, which is on YouTube channel. And all of this is on our website. So go to the website, again, MOBENOSolarSolutions.com. Would love to hear from you. You can buy it over there, or you become a dealer. If you are a reseller that wants to resell products and make money that way, we welcome resellers out there. Absolutely. I'd love to hear back.
Nice. Well, hopefully, ladies and gentlemen in the audience listening to this, our Erez dropped a lot of jewels, a lot of good things to think about, to ponder on, to hopefully take action on some of these things. Definitely be financially responsible. Get feedback from, like I said, people you trust that they can tell you, hey, this is a crap product or this is a good product. Get out there, build those relationships, whether it's trade shows or whatnot. I mean, it can be an amazing ride. It seems like Erez is having a good time, kind of enjoying the journey, and This is not. I mean, you can be in that same position. This is not. You have to be a brainiac or you have to be a special person to be able to kind of be an inventor and build a business and things like that. You have to go after it, as he talked about. Go after it. So hopefully you got something from this episode. Until next time, take care, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dave. Good to be here.